What's going on, guys? Are you looking for a fresh take on crypto? Well, look no further than the Archer Exchange, where you can join us as we delve into the exciting world of crypto and discover the possibilities of what could be the future of finance. And make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate it. And we're gonna jump right into the education part. We got a few interesting things for you guys. What we're gonna be talking about today is gonna be the different I guess you could say the different types of crypto. You got layer ones, layer twos, layer threes is possibly coming out here in the future, and then we also have proof of stake and proof of work. And I'm gonna let Eric get a little bit into it.
Yeah. So, like you said, getting into the different layers and the different levels and types gets pretty complicated. Especially if you're new to it, because most people generally I've only heard like Bitcoin, and that a lot of people don't even realize that there's other coins out there when they first.
Oh yeah, Bitcoin just being the most well-known coin.
Right. So further getting into that, so you could spend a lot of time on this. And a lot of energy and breaking it down. So we're just going to kind of cover the basics, on it and stuff. And
there's so many coins that there's different things as well. And we ain't gonna get into every little bit and piece of it, but we're gonna give you a little bit of the key information as to
what I think it's like copying what we're saying, like we're putting it in for closed caption maybe or something. I don't know. I've never seen that. It's crazy.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
hit it by accident or something. Anyways.
Well, that's cool.
Pretty cool. We're still learning.
Yeah, I thought somebody was typing in the chat or something.
Hey, if y'all out there, watching this live, or even if it's already over, you can post in the comments, if you have a question about any of this stuff we're going over. And,
for sure.
We can do a show about that too.
Yeah, you got to comment on the live stream. You can comment before or after the video. It's cool. Either way, we'll see it. Yeah, right. I mean, what we're trying to do is get more people interested. If you're watching, leave a comment. What do you think about crypto? What coins do you want to know about? What your goals is, or any of the other stuff that we covered, the crypto exchanges, all that good stuff. But
we got a lot of good videos out there,
Yeah, starting out, we're going to get into more of the, like stuff that's going on in the world, but we wanted to have a few videos to educate people about crypto and the different, the basics, the crypto exchanges, like setting up your goals, the market cycles. I mean, we got a good bit of content that we've already put out, and I think this will be not the last one that's kind of going into the basics, but definitely be where we're getting started into running into a different type of show.
Kind of changing the theme.
Yeah, changing up a little bit now that we're getting past the education part.
Past kind of the basic part of it, maybe getting
more
complicated.
Get a little bit more interesting on the show.
Yeah, but getting back into our topic today. So what is a layer one? What do you think of when you think you hear like layer one projects and stuff?
So to me, layer one is your basic blockchain technology, and as being the first one, everything else is really built off of the layer ones. And it's basically the main consensus mechanism that was implemented, and it's used by different types of cryptos and different types of blockchain networks. Like you got Avalanche Network, blockchain has its own network, Polygon, Cardano, all these different ones. Much, and so basically everything's built off of layer one. Layer one's being almost like your very first one, right? And then everybody else kind of built off, just like Bitcoin. Like everybody, like Bitcoin being the first crypto, and then everybody kind of
you got 20-some thousand coins and trying to copy it.
Right, and improve different things and solve different things and everything like that.
That's a good take on it for sure.
Yeah, and I'll let you get into what layer twos is.
Layer twos, they're basically like they're improvements. They go along with the layer two ones, but
I know you're pretty big on layer twos.
Yeah, and so your layer ones, like Ethereum in particular, as far as like the gas fees being so expensive and stuff, and people don't want to spend that kind of money on gas fees, and so the layer twos that fixes the problem. Like Polygon and different ones, where it makes it more scalable.
Yeah,
and it reduces those transaction costs so that people are not holding back. Because I know I'd be holding back,
Yeah.
at certain times, especially when there's more activity going on and stuff. So it's kind of like in addition to it, like a implemented supplemental, like I don't know how you say it, but improvement.
Yeah, right. That's all it really is. It's
Yeah.
just improving off
It's
of
working together with it.
improving what's already been built. It's just like anything else in the real world,
Yeah.
right? Like cell phones. Back in the day, they had cameras,
Yep.
cameras. I think I used this last video, the
Mhm.
analogy, but it's really with anything. Cars, cars way back in the day,
Yeah.
you get 10 horsepower, 20 horsepower, whatever. Now we're looking at 1,000 horsepower motors.
Just the car at the very beginning was a big deal,
Right.
First one.
So it's the same thing. You're always trying to improve everything that anybody does. They're always trying to improve it and better it. And with that being said, so they also have something that they're working on. It's called Layer 3.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't really know a whole lot of information about Layer 3 except that, it's built off of Layer 2.
It's not really out yet, is it?
Yeah, I haven't.
They're working on it, I think.
I think there's only one coin that I've read about that is going to be, that's working on Layer 3, and that's Arbitrum.
Yeah.
Or Arbitrum or whatever, ARB.
Mm-hmm.
And they're working on a Layer 3 called Orbit.
Okay, yeah,
Now,
I remember that.
Again, most of them you got Layer 1s, Layer 2s, but they're supposedly working on Layer 3s.
Right.
So that'll be another
That would be
consensus mechanism that's built off of the Layer 2s.
Yeah.
And hell, it'd be really like it'd be the first of its kind, depending
So
on
that could be
which
really
one
good
does
investment, like to get into, because I tried to get into, like Layer 2s soon as I could, but being in the United States, it was hard to do it, like Polygon and stuff. And I mean, it's made a lot of people money on the when Layer 2s came out. So you can imagine like a Layer 3 getting in it early, and the possibility could be
especially
massive.
getting in like the first one, like say like Bitcoin being the first
man.
cryptocurrency.
Even getting into the first layer ones like Ethereum, like you said, Bitcoin and Ethereum. I mean, when Ethereum was like 60-some cents, or something.
Man.
So it could be a good opportunity to get in. The one thing too, going back to Layer 2, Layer 2s for a second, Layer 1s really is, they have different consensuses like proof of work, proof of stake. Like, they're not all just proof of work for level ones. It branches out, and there's different types of algorithms that it uses and stuff like that, which is pretty interesting too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you break it into this, and then once you break into the level ones, and you breaks off, you get into different types of scalability based on like the type of network that it is and the security that it uses and that kind of thing too, which is pretty fascinating if you think about it.
Oh yeah, and layer one, layer 2, proof of stake, proof of work, they're all really fascinating and good as long as you do your research and you look at what the coin's about, the use cases, the value, the utility of it, all that good stuff. It really don't. I mean, layer 1, layer 2, or proof of work, proof of stake really just depends on which one you're in.
Yeah.
Like, you got people that out there that green environment, this, that, and the third.
Mm-hmm.
So they're leaning more towards proof of stake coins. And, again, like you got proof of stake, proof of work, proof of history, and all this other, proof of whatever. And, well, it's going to run on one of these two one of these two layers right here, layer 1 or layer 2.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy how they keep coming out with more of these different, like, you first got like proof of work, proof of stake, then you got like internet of value, you got like, I mean, and the like Filecoin, the storage. I mean, it just keeps like more and more stuff. It's amazing, man. It's just
so many different types. You just got there's so many out there, and that's where you got to kind of be weird. Like, you can make some money, or you can also, you don't know really how good that project's going to be, type of thing. So that's where you kind of want to diversify your portfolio, and you don't want to put everything in one of them low market cap coins or one of these newer projects.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of want to be spaced out between some of the valuable stuff and top 10 crypto coins. You may want like 2 or 3 of them, and then you can jump into like the meme coins and have like one of them, and then like you got to kind of figure out what you want.
It just depends how much, like, money you got laying around, basically,
Yeah.
that is expendable, that
Yeah.
you're not worried about, like, if you lose it, it don't matter, kind of thing.
Right.
You know?
You got to look at
You
everything
never
that
know.
you invest as you're willing to lose it. And now some people ain't really cool with that, but
Yeah. Right.
it's almost like to me like almost like gambling, but you're kind of gambling on stuff that you know will
Yeah, I mean,
succeed.
it is, but to me, it kind of is. But at the same time, you're doing it with educate. If you do it the right way,
Yeah.
you're researching it, and you're calculating like your risk factors, like how much you want to put into this project that you could lose or whatever, and like you're not just like throwing everything in project,
Yeah, right.
And like if you go to the tables and throw everything the tables, you're not
Yeah.
really doing that. Some people do, and you can do that, it's not smart, but so it's just like you got to keep a good head on your shoulders type of thing, and research, study, what you're wanting to get into instead of just buying it, right out of the get go, and don't FOMO in.
Yeah,
That's a
right.
big thing too. You buy what goes up must come down. I mean, it's gonna come down. Look at right now,
And that's all about
Bitcoin
that's all
and
about
stuff.
strategy too. Like knowing when to get in, knowing when to get out. And matter of fact, I just had this debate with old buddy at work where you want to set up your goals. You got to have an entry plan and an exit plan, and you got to look at what your long term, short term.
What was he saying? Like, what was?
So at first he was like, "Oh man, the market's just all over the place and everything," and I was like, "Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have that."
I mean, that's what it does.
I said, "You gotta look." I said, "You gotta think." Now, there's 4 cycles of the market. Accumulation, the markup, markdown, all that good stuff, bear market, and everything. And basically, like what I told him in short was, what I do is I try to set my goals, like the certain amount of crypto that I want to purchase. I look at the all-time high, and I try to predict what that project's going to be. Is it going to go half of that this bull run? Is it going to go what the all-time high was?
Right.
Is it going to go more than what the all-time high was?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I base it on. If I invest $1,000 on that project,
Yeah.
and it's at this certain 50 cent, but the all-time
And
high
you're
was
also setting like realistic goals too.
yeah, really. You want to
You're not
start
getting like shoot like crazy.
yeah, you
numbers.
want to hit this little goal first and then move up.
Mhm.
And you do that with every project or every cryptocurrency, whatever asset you hold.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. So what I explained to him was if I invest 10,000 and I'm looking at my portfolio, what do I want my portfolio to reach? Well, I'm looking at like long term, at least 10x. If I could get 10x off of whatever I put in, and I don't mean like, because sometimes you can look at your portfolio and be like, well, I'm up $2,500 all
You're
the
talking
time.
about your whole portfolio.
Yeah, right.
Not just certain
If I'm up $25 or $2,500 for my all time portfolio being up, well, I ain't looking at the $2,500. I want to know what I personally invested out of my bank account or whatever, and put into the market. What did I invest? All right, and then that's where I'm gonna base my point off of is. So if I invested $1,000, I want 10x off of it. Okay, so
like 10,000.
so you need to look at cryptocurrencies that's down enough that you can get them gains where you get a 5x, 10x,
Man,
or
I'm
whatever.
telling you, people looking at it the wrong way. Like the dude you're talking about. I wasn't there. I don't know everything that happened, but it's so common. Like they get so upset because the price is coming down. They're just like, they don't look at it like, oh,
I
that's
told
an
them to-
opportunity to buy.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, type of like. they
I
get
said you
upset,
got. I
but-
said you got to think. Bitcoin was down. We already in the bottom of the market, and if you go back and watch one of our videos where we explain the cycle, the market cycles, you're going to notice that in the bottom of the market, and we actually did a screen share where you can see the market. So you're going to see that once we're down in the bear market, all right, and you're in the accumulation phase, before the market, you're already starting to go up.
Yeah.
And the bottom's already in.
You can see it on the charts.
Bitcoin was 15,000 something, 16,000, whatever the case may be, and now we're sitting at 28,000,
I mean,
27,000.
we're still way above,
we're still way above where we was at the all-time low, or the all-time low of this cycle, right? Which is 15, 16,000.
I mean, definitely.
So we're already 2x into the cycle.
Yeah.
I said, so you got to start paying attention to that. Like,
Hey,
even though
man.
you may be down today and you're looking at this, that, and the third, Well, you got to realize the bottom's already in, so we're on that gradual rise. Like there is no going back down to the bottom. It's all rise up until we get to the top, and then it's gonna be time for you to have an exit strategy, and then you're gonna ride it down, and then you're gonna get back in. And then I got into the fact of where you got to know what your plan is for once you get out of the market.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
And see, that's where I kind of feel like I want to take this channel, like, because there's so much that you can talk about when it comes to like, what do you plan on doing in these
you
phases?
gotta have a plan getting into the market and a plan getting out too.
Yeah, right.
Like a strategy. That's because because when you get all emotional and stuff, you might not pull out and then
Right.
might crash or whatever.
And like I told him, I said if I invested 10,000 in my portfolio, total portfolio, whether it be 10 coins, 30 coins, or whatever the case may be, if I got 10,000 of my money invested in it, and I plan on my whole portfolio doing a 10x, that'd be 100,000. I asked him, I said, well, what is your game plan if you did that, what I just said, and you had 100,000 and you cashed out, you because we're at the top, whatever, you decided to get out, that's 100,000. What would you do? Would you go out and spend it and blow it? Because if you did, you'd be starting all the way over again.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, you done spent all this time and built up $10,000 to dump into the market, and then you just gonna go out and have fun and blow it on cars or a house or whatever. You don't want to do that, right? You want to. What I would do, like he asked me what I would do, and I told him, I said, well, if it was me and I made my portfolio go from 10,000 to 100,000, what I would do is either take 50,000 or 70,000 and let it sit in USD coin until the next bear market. Right. Once the market goes back down, because what's going to happen. People's going to take their profits. We're going to enter another bear market. So I would take that 50, 75,000 because I originally started with 10,000, and it may have took me, let's say it took me a month or 6 months or a year to put 10,000 in the market, right? Well, it went up to 100,000 because I was patient and I waited. Patience. Right. So now I got 100,000, or 75 to 50,000 that I can reinvest all at one time once we hit the bottom. Yeah. Versus 10,000 over 6 months or 10,000 over
a year.
You
get a 10x on your 100,000 the next time, like you got 10x.
Yeah, because now you got 50,000 to play with or 75,000 to play with, and then you're anticipating another 10x.
And you really didn't even have to put any money out.
And you talking within 10 years.
So yeah, exactly. And so it's basically like rinse and repeat.
Like exactly. Like we're not saying don't take your money out and for all the hard work that you put in, investing and researching and being patient. We're not saying don't spend it, but you can't spend all of it because you're starting back at zero.
Right. And if you blow it on stuff, and maybe you buy a house, that's cool. Or whatever,
that's why I say take out 25 to 50% of your profit, and then keep the rest of it until the next bear market. Because now, again, you could be getting out a little early, because nobody can predict where the top's going to be or whatever the case may be. So you may be getting out, a little early. Or you may get out a little late. You may be riding it down.
But you're still doing good.
And then you still got to ride it all the way down to where it's real low, and you're fully into the bottom of the bear market. And then now you got, if you put 10,000, turn it into 50,000, now you got 5x to be able to accumulate more crypto versus that original $10,000 investment.
Years. Say you turned it into 10,000 into 100,000, and you got a 10x out of that. It was $1 million. Then you do another 10x.
Oh man!
You got 10 million in like 15.
And if you get into some of these good projects, they're going to go up way more.
Yeah,
than that.
And you can kill it way more. That's just like a.
That's just a good good little set point. Is you want to hit a 10x.
Kind of low, like normal type thing, like expect easily type of thing.
Yeah.
So basically, and what you're saying is like to be able to do that. What we're talking about is you got to have a few things going on.
I hope I ain't being too loud. I think I was pretty loud.
You're all right. Hear that, Robbie? But anyways, to be able to do that, you got to have knowledge of what's going on in the market. Yeah. So this dude was following Bitcoin and just the cryptocurrency in general. This is like the most volatile thing on the planet, right? He would it does this all the time. He would just shake it off because, it dips all the time and comes back up. It could go back up in 2 days from now or a week or whatever. Just So apparently this guy hasn't really paid attention to and doesn't really understand how it works
Right.
as far as that. And that's okay because he's new maybe or whatever, or maybe he's too busy and everybody's at that point some in their life. But to be able to do what you're saying, you have to have the knowledge and you have to understand like how the cycles work.
Yeah.
And the patience. You have to have patience for it to go up.
Yeah.
And you have patience for it to come back down. And you're just waiting for
A lot of
this
people get
opportunity
scared
time.
too.
Yeah.
Like they'll watch
Right.
they'll watch their account be in the negative. Oh,
And
my
that's where the
account's
knowledge
going
kicks in, knowing
down.
what you hold and holding the right coins.
Yeah.
And then understanding the cycles and how they work. And we got a whole video on that. And so, I mean, man, maybe I hope he learned something. Like, I hope you taught him something.
Oh, I did, because within 5 minutes he went and bought some more crypto because he was excited. I was like, all right, that's cool.
Man, I love
I was
it.
like, well, I'm glad the market's going down for you right now. 'Cause
Change the world one at a time.
I mean, yeah.
One person at a time.
I ain't lying though. He did. He's like, I'm gonna go in your Connex real quick and purchase some more crypto.
Good for him,
I was
man.
like, that's cool.
That's
I
good.
was
And
like,
don't
yeah,
be
you need
thinking,
to.
I mean,
I was
one
like,
day-
you got to. I was like, you got to take advantage of these
Got
dips.
to. Yeah.
Especially when we was almost at 31,000 on
Yeah,
Bitcoin,
yeah.
and now we're coming below 28,000.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's almost a $2,000 discount
Man,
right there if you look
yeah,
at it. You know what I mean? Like who wouldn't pick up on $2,000 discount?
Well, if you study the charts and stuff, you'll see that like the highest record for green candles, daily green candles, is like 13, 14, 15 maybe, something
Yeah.
like that. And I mean, that tells you right there, it's gonna come back down. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna have that.
You're gonna have selling
Yeah.
pressure because you always got people
Taking
that
profits.
that maybe got in at a different price
Yep.
and is now like, I'm gonna go ahead and cash this out, and then they
Right.
sell it, and
Exactly.
then
'Cause everybody gets in at a different time and it has
right.
different profits.
And you don't know
whatever.
when they got in
And-
and how much they
Man.
accumulated and stuff like that.
Could be the
Not to
government.
mention big companies, right? Big
Yeah.
companies and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that. They accumulate and purchase a bunch at one time. And you got to realize too, we're already in a 2x in a bear market on Bitcoin,
That's crazy.
which is nuts, right? So with that being said, you probably do have people that got in at the bottom and went ahead and 2x their money. You know what I mean? If you
Yeah,
bought a
yeah.
whole Bitcoin at 15,000 and
Oh,
you
yeah.
sell
Oh,
it
yeah.
at 30,000,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Because they're doing exactly what you were
You
talking
made double.
about,
You
where
made
yeah.
$15,000
You can't
right
beat
there.
it. Yeah, right. And they may bought it
Only in a couple months too, right?
Right, and they could have bought it like 5 years ago, decided to take some profits. I mean, that happens all the time. And but I mean,
Yeah, so you're never gonna know. That's
Yeah.
the other thing. Well, I mean, you can look at the blockchain and stuff like that and kind of figure out who's holding the most amount of Bitcoin, and it kind of tells you stuff like that, right? So,
it could have been.
but you ain't gonna know, like, you're not gonna tell me when you sell. You're just gonna sell whenever you get the feeling to sell,
yeah.
right? And that's how people are. Like, they're not gonna
Exactly.
tell you when they're gonna sell. They're just gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
You
Could
know.
have been the U.S. selling the rest of that Bitcoin that they had.
Right,
Drop.
yeah.
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
You never know. But I mean, that's just the way it is.
But we're
So,
definitely in the markup phase. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah, you can see if you look at the charts, you can see the bottom. I mean,
Yeah.
and we're clearly coming up.
Yeah.
And where we at now? Like 28 something. 28?
yeah, it was like
That's where we were
28,200.
like a couple weeks ago, or a week ago, or whatever. That was like, everybody's cool with it then. Like,
Yeah, right.
no big deal. All of a sudden, oh no, it's going down.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah,
you can't
right,
make this
right,
stuff up. It's hilarious in a way.
Yeah.
But-
And he came over here and asked me that, and I was like, hell yeah, buy some more. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's me. Like, I'm ready
Time
to
to
buy
buy,
some.
man,
That's
buy
what I
it.
told him. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, Daniel, you know what I'm saying? You got in at the, almost the same point I got in, this year and started accumulating on a weekly basis, and Bitcoin was already at the bottom, 15, 16,000. I was like, you're looking at it the wrong way. You're looking at, it's going down. What's up with
Yeah,
all
right,
this?
man.
It's going to go down. And that's when you know you got to purchase some more because you getting it at a discount because you may not hit that price again. I mean, we haven't seen 15, 16,000
Man, let me
in a
tell you
while.
something, man, I remember when a few years ago, and I was in this space, and it was like Bitcoin hadn't even broke ever 20,000, and it got close to it in the past.
Yeah, I remember when
it
Bitcoin
got
was
like
$6,000.
19,
I was
yeah.
like, God.
And
damn.
then like when it broke 20,000 for the first time a couple years ago or 3 years ago, whatever it was now, everybody's like, it was all over, like, oh my God, Bitcoin, bro. And you know, it's 28 or whatever it is now, and people are freaking out that it's like, oh, it's good, it's down.
It's gonna go to
But look
zero.
if you zoom out
Yeah.
and see the whole picture, you're like, well, let me think about this. Look
Yeah.
at this chart. It's going to the right, like it's going like this. But,
It's mainly the
you know,
people that don't want to get educated. They're looking for a quick buck,
yeah.
a fast dollar, and it takes time. You know
Yeah,
what I
you
mean?
gotta
Like
wait for that,
you need to stay in a cycle and be patient. You're gonna have them ups and downs. You just got to look at it like it's time to accumulate some more. When it goes down like it did, you know, today, yesterday,
Yeah.
type of thing, you want to get some more.
Well, and a lot of the newer people don't understand that, like, just because like it's going down, you're not actually losing any money
Yeah.
until you hit that sell button.
Right.
You know, it's called unrealized, you know, gains
Profits
or
and
losses.
gains. Yeah.
And so you know, but once you hit that button and you sell, then yeah, you actually have lost. But if you just hold on to it, wait for it to come back up, then you know you're back in. And
I see. We got another watcher in here.
Oh, yeah, welcome
we
to the
appreciate you coming in and joining us as we talk about crypto. And if you want to know anything, make sure you leave a comment down below. Hit that subscribe button if you ain't already. We appreciate it.
Yeah. So the guys, just whoever came in, you know, we're just talking about, you know,
Yeah.
a little experience today that happened.
Yeah, a
a
little-
little debate.
Yeah.
you had,
Right. A little bit off track, but you know.
But I mean, it's all, you know, good information.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was definitely pretty exciting.
You really
Watching
have to,
him
like-
get excited about oh man, I'm gonna go buy some more right now. You know, he's
To-
like, you talked me into it.
Right? To win in this space, you know, to be successful, you really have to open your mind and like to be able to see the full picture,
Yeah.
understand it.
Because there's a lot of variables in it too, right?
Yeah, and you have to
And
kinda
most
stand
people,
back.
like you say, don't open their mind. They just see they're one sided.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah, tunnel
You know,
vision.
what's going on right now at this moment? It's going down. Oh, you know,
Yeah, right.
But then, you know, next week it might be up. You know,
And then they're gonna be
higher
like,
than
damn
it was.
it, I wish I would have stayed in. And it's
yeah,
like,
right.
you should have. You can't take a loss unless you sell. No
Yeah.
matter what, you're not gonna take a loss until you actually take that loss, and
You
that's
know,
by
you
clicking
would
that
be
button to sell.
Surprised at how many people they buy at the top and sell at the bottom. like,
Come,
I'm serious.
ass backwards.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Yep, right.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they really do it, and
Oh.
they keep doing it over and over. It's like, you know, you're supposed to learn from your mistakes and stuff, but their emotions get in, and they FOMO. You know, human. You know, it's basically like they won't. It's crazy. It's like reverse psychology almost, or something. Everybody wants to buy something when it's going up in value. You
I think
know?
this is so far behind or something. I don't know what's
Well,
going
this
on.
is too, a
Yeah,
little bit,
that
but-
was.
But it's like, you know, they want to buy when it's going up, and they don't want to buy when it's cheap. They do
Right.
it backwards kind of thing. And then they think it's going to zero when it goes down. They're like, oh, and they sell. I'm like, I got to get what I can get for it now, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I know what you're
And,
saying
I mean,
because even old salt head, he was one.
What's up, Saul? Is that you watching?
Oh, he was one of them ones that I put 25,000 in the market and I watched it go down a little bit. I pulled out. I just took a loss. I can't lose that. I can't afford to. Well, why'd you put $25,000 in? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
if you can't afford to lose it, you shouldn't have put it in to begin with. But also, you didn't believe in what you purchased,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, type of thing. Like, you
Yeah.
didn't believe in that project. You was just, you can't look at it like what you said. You got
I mean, that's-
you got to change your brain up because you got to go from instead of looking at it for money, we're in it for money. Don't get us wrong, but
Yeah.
we know what we're purchasing as well,
Yeah,
and
you know,
being
inside out.
patient, you know, and waiting on what we're potentially going to
And why
earn,
is that? Because we understand the cycle, right?
right? And understand what we're buying and
Understand what
purchasing
the
and,
value of
and
what's gonna
trading.
Be one day. The
Right.
technology.
What's
that's
behind it?
in
The
behind
utility,
it.
the value,
Yeah,
the
right.
supply.
There's nothing on the planet like this. I mean,
Supply and demand, and a lot of things is like we're in the United States, so that's another thing that's pretty terrible because a lot of people assume that this is a United States thing,
Right.
and they don't realize that this is global. This is around the world.
Right,
Everybody's
right.
trading this, you know, because
24 hours a day,
because
like-
USD is so strong and everything's compared to US dollars. There ain't but so many
Mm-hmm.
countries that their currency is above United States, like Canada, for example. You know, the exchange rate, you know,
Yeah.
theirs is being one that is higher than ours, right? Like it ain't a 1-to-1 ratio. And with that being said, this crypto gives everybody in different countries this opportunity
The
to
same
be
opportunity, yeah.
equal
Mhm.
because they're buying in to something at U.S. dollars, right? Like if you look at all crypto, Polygon $2 or whatever, it's all based on the U.S. dollar because the U.S. dollar is strong, and that's what I'm saying. Like everybody thinks it's just U.S., but it ain't. It's across the world. Like you got people in China and Japan and Russia and Philippines and
people that don't understand how this stuff works. Like just
trillions of people that's investing in crypto.
They open their eyes and they kind of refuse to, and they oh, it's a scam kind of thing, and they basically you're missing out. Like one of the greatest opportunities out there. Man.
No.
Oh, maybe we'll take you on there or something.
Oh, dang. But yeah, so. Oh, no, good. Yeah, hold right there. Nope, keep going. Oh. Oh, go back toward me. All right. Oh, yeah. All right. So, without further ado, a little bit of errors on our part, but it's all good. We're gonna jump into proof of work. What we was originally doing in the video.
Sweet, man. So,
a little bit of education on the proof of work. And I
know
know you know a lot about
man, you do too.
what. Yeah, right. We both built crypto mining machines and stuff like that. We're going to talk about proof of work, and with proof of work, it basically takes miners, which is something that both of us has built and containing. Back in the day, you used to run off CPUs and now GPUs, and you also got ASIC miners and stuff like that. But what happens is with proof of work is you have miners, which is, again, like I said, CPU, GPUs, ASIC miners, and what they're doing is competing to solve mathematical equations and validating transactions on the blockchain network and all that good stuff. And the first person to solve that transaction or that problem receives a reward for it. And they get the block. Now, if they're solo mining or pool mining, it may split the reward up a little bit. But if you're solo mining and you end up getting lucky and you hit a whole block, you get the whole block reward.
Nice.
And depending on which one it is, that could be a bunch of tokens.
Depending on what you're mining, you might not hit it.
It may take a while.
A long time. Yeah. You may never hit it, or you may hit a few of them.
Right.
It's just
depends.
Depends how many people are out there mining on it and that kind of thing, and But like that Casper one now, that's doing like 32 blocks a second, So you got more chances of hitting it with that one. Whereas Ethereum was like every 3 or 4 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
One block. I mean, that's a huge difference. But yeah, like you said, and that's it's.
Or you look at Bitcoin where you get what. What is it now? Like 1 or 1.5 or 3.5?
It was 50 when it came out. Then the halving it was like 25. Then we had another. I think. We can look it up.
12.5.
Something like that.
I think we're at the 6.25 or something like that.
Something like that. But yeah.
But either way,
Right. The boards get cut and stuff.
And you can mine and you can hit a block. Now a lot of people pool mine. They join forces, basically computing all the hash rate together.
That's what we pretty much did.
And you share the rewards and. So that's pretty fast. Mining is pretty fascinating. It does take a lot of electricity too.
Just a few days ago, they come out with another update for a different coin, like Hero Coin or something, and they improved it to where you're using so much less energy for your cards and stuff, and you're getting like a ton more. I mean, they're constantly coming out with these new, like the miners are always updating, like LOL miners, right. Where they're more efficient, and and I mean it's coming back. I mean it really is. Because it's been down for a while.
Yeah.
But the electricity costs and stuff, like me mining right now, is like I'm like 98 watts on a 3080 right now, where before it was like 250.
Yeah. 230, 250.
Yeah. And so things are getting better and better, and now as new cards come out too, they're getting better. Like that 4090 I got, man, that sucker's killing it. I think it's making about 263 a day. It's that one card right now. The 4090 after electricity cost, give or take, the changes. And that's in a bear market. I mean, that's pretty big. But Caspa, I think it's gonna be huge. But anyways,
It's got the potential.
The amazing thing about that one is that so your proof of stake is like the most secure, is the best security
Right.
as far as like your coins and stuff compared to like proof of stake, but it's more expensive, the gas fees and all that. Whereas like Cashbill like fixes that, where it keeps the proof of work and you have that good security, but also it's able to do how many transactions was it? It was like 2,600 or something. No, it was more than that. Wasn't it?
3,500.
A second, but
Yeah, I think it's 3,500 a second.
yeah, something like that. But it's able to do
Or it
like
might have
both.
been
It's really
27.
kind of like it keeps up. It's faster than a lot of your proof of stake coins.
Yeah.
But it's using proof of work technology, and that's where like they did that update with the 32 blocks a second.
Yeah.
And that's where they're getting that the able to do that with that technology and stuff and rewarding. And they've got like you can run your own node when you're mining it, so you don't have to pay those fees. And stuff like that. Like they're encouraging, miners to sell
Right,
mine
right,
and
right,
stuff.
right.
And so I mean, there's no telling where that sucker could go. I'm real bullish on that one, but
Yeah.
you do a whole show on that. We did talk about it in another episode. And stuff,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
since
we
we're
did.
talking
We
about
did.
mining,
Yeah.
and it's newer coin stuff, but
And there's quite a few coins that's proof of work coins still, even though, again, Ethereum was probably like one of the biggest ones, and that kind of hurt a lot of people.
yeah, a lot of people
when
got
they,
mad about that.
yeah.
And it hurt me a little bit too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, especially when we wasn't in a whole long term, mining thing, but
Yeah.
again, it was worth it while
Like
we
if
was
you
in
had
it.
just invested in it, like at this point, Ethereum, and you spent a lot of money and stuff, and then we switched over to proof of stake, and then you couldn't mine anymore. Well, that'd been real.
Yeah, that
hard
would have been rough
swallow
right there. Yeah.
but
And that's where it comes in doing research and knowing
Yeah.
what you're doing, because you get in something at the wrong time. You get
Right.
out at the wrong time. You can get in at the wrong time.
definitely.
I mean, you got to know what you're getting into before you get into it.
And the good thing about like with mining with your graphics cards is that you can mine different coins like we talked in that one episode, but also you can still sell them, if nothing's mineable at the time, and they're still worth something.
Right.
Whereas like if you're using an ASIC miner and that algorithm completely stops, then you
Yep.
basically you got like just a dead block sitting there,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you can't use for anything else,
Yeah.
So
GPU, you can do gaming
yeah.
or stuff like that, or whatever.
right.
A lot of people buy graphics cards and stuff like that just because gaming and stuff. So you'll always be able to get rid of them.
Yeah, right. You got
Yeah.
the gamers gonna buy it up.
So the next one will be proof of stake, which I know you covered a little bit of the proof of stake. You want to talk a little bit more about it?
Basically, it's just using instead of like the miners using like machines like graphics cards or ASICs to be rewarded for doing the work. Is the proof of stake is like you have the actual coin of that network, whether it be like Solana or Avalanche or whichever one,
Right.
and you take those coins and you lock them up into the network.
Yeah. For a
And-
certain amount of time.
Right, and then you're being rewarded for that,
Right. For not selling and stuff like that.
Right, and
You're-
you can't sell it once you
Yeah.
lock it up until it gets
The
sold
time
off.
period.
Right. And
Right.
and then so it's running it inside the system, and you're being rewarded for that, and that's pretty sweet because you don't have to buy all that equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
And
You ain't
don't
got
have to monitor it.
no kind of downtime as far as like maintenance on equipment and like you say, GPUs. So with GPUs, they overheat and
Right.
you run electricity 24/7.
They can heat
Gotta
you up,
keep
too.
gotta
In the
keep them
wintertime.
cool. Gotta keep them cool unless
Yeah.
it's wintertime. But summertime, you kind of got to throw some
Yeah.
AC on it type of
You gotta
thing.
kind of monitor, like you said.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, you don't have to worry about that so much. And it's just kind of do it in the background, kind of
Right.
thing. It's like good passive income and stuff. But usually, there's a minimum amount that you have to do it to be able to do it. And it just depends on the chain that you're doing. Like Ethereum's like 32.
Yeah. Right.
And then I think Avalanche, was it 2,000? I think to Avalanche. I think it's around 2,000. It depends on which
Like-
node
like-
or what not node, but it's like I think it's up there. It's pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
last time, now this was a long time ago, right? But a while ago when we looked at it, I think it was 2,000 AVAX to stake or whatever.
Right.
But
So it's just,
now like you can get on, like I can get on Binance US. I'm currently staking Avalanche on Binance US receiving like 2.6%.
Is it locked up though, or is it just sitting there?
Oh, it ain't even locked up.
Right,
It's just
right.
sitting
Yeah,
there
that's
and
right.
earning 2.6%. Now that's a year, right? APR. So
Yeah.
that's yearly, which ain't much,
But
depending on how much you invest.
When you,
But
shoot, man, when you're in the bear market though, do it. I mean, because you don't want to sell anyways right now.
again, any little extra passive income, because you get a passive income here, and like Binance US, let's say it's got 15 coins that you can stake. If you're getting 2.6 here, 5.6 here,
Yeah.
11.3 on this one, whatever the case may be, you're building up your passive income.
Right.
You're
You're getting free crypto basically.
Right. So, if you get $1 on this coin, $2 on this one, it all builds up and adds. And not to mention, like you just mentioned, the bear market, where you're accumulating that crypto.
So AVAX might be
24/7.
like, I think you got like $19 before it came
Right.
down. And
I think it's like 19 or something right now.
But one time it was like 120 or something.
I think it was $187 all-time high or something
So
like that.
you building it up now. You don't really want to sell right now, anyways. Unless
No.
it's an emergency or something.
No.
And then accumulate.
The only reason it's
accumulating.
The funny thing is the only reason it's really sitting on Binance US is because my cold wallet don't have AVAX.
Oh, I know, right?
You can't put AVAX on my cold wallet, so I figured the best thing to do is get some passive income out of it and get some interest.
That's the way to do it. Right there.
That type of thing.
Does it pay out every month or daily or how's it?
Oh, it gives me money every day.
So
Now it may not be a whole lot. I think what I earn is like 50 cents every week.
Yeah.
Which,
and that's cool because you don't.
But I don't have a whole lot, right? So the more you invest, the more money you would make, right?
Of course,
so,
right.
But I don't have a whole lot, invested on Binance with AVAX, because we use MetaMask and
Do you
shit
know
too.
what percentage it is that you're getting on there? Like
2.6.
2.6.
Yeah.
That's good.
Or APY.
And if you were like directly staking it on there, you'd be higher, of course, because they're getting their cut of it, and you don't have to lock it up and stuff too.
Right.
So everybody, how that works.
But you technically accumulate every day, and every week.
You're doing nothing really.
Right. And the more you stake, the more you're gonna make, obviously.
Yeah.
So, just because like I only get 50 cents a week or whatever the case may be, you could get more depending on how much you invest. Yeah. I don't even have I think I got less than $1,000 of AVAX on Binance State just because I don't like to have a whole lot of money on a centralized exchange.
Yeah, that's what I was saying next. Was, you want to be careful where you do that too.
Right.
Which I think Binance is, it's one.
I feel like Binance is pretty safe, but there's always something in the news that
I would be more worried about
away.
The U.S. going after him and
Well, they're already trying to go after him. I don't know if you watched that interview.
We can't use Binance anymore, blah, 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 and mess everything up. I'd be more worried about that than Binance going under. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Myself.
I think actually, old buddy, I watched a video yesterday about this, the CEO of Binance US or Binance, and they was talking about how
CZ.
Yeah, CZ, and they was asking them questions about the FTX stuff because they had shares of FTX or FTT token and stuff like that. Or if everybody sold out, do y'all spend people's money and this, that, and the third? Oh no, we're financially, but a few weeks ago, it was real bad. Oh, they was accusing Binance of everything and, type of thing. So,
there's a lot of stuff going on.
I just don't like keeping a whole lot on centralized exchange.
Especially when stuff's not regulated yet and stuff like that. But Binance is awesome. It really is. But
I like Binance.
And there's so much crap going on, manipulation and stuff, and they make things look like this or that, and trying to it's,
right.
It's nuts what's going on around. It's hard to keep up with it all, and you can't believe everything that they say.
Yeah. A lot of it's just scare tactics.
There's a lot of competition
thing.
with the stable coins.
Not to mention in the U.S. they don't really want crypto, and some people do. Some of the higher ups do. Some of them don't.
Which is interesting because the Fed now is coming out pretty soon, which is that new payment system.
Right.
That is basically using it. Well, it's not basically. It is using blockchain technology to make instant payments when you transfer money and you pay bills and stuff. So it's so strange to me, they're so against it, but then they're coming out with this. I think it's supposed to come out in July or June. It's coming out, unless they push it back, but it's coming, and it's actually using blockchain technology to do it. And
Yeah,
in the
pretty
U.S.
nice.
You know,
Yeah.
but you know, a lot of people don't.
But they can't.
See that,
You know,
understand
I
it.
think if they get Gary Gensler out of the
Just get out of
SEC,
there.
we may be able to get somewhere in crypto world. But
Right. I'm hoping
Yeah.
so. I mean,
I don't know what his problem is. But
well,
yeah.
you know, he used to work for the big banks and stuff, and I think he's basically been, you know,
Hey,
paid.
you know the crazy thing is, I watched a video the other day on Gary. You know when he was getting questioned by the court,
Yeah.
and I thought something that was funny was they was questioning him about him teaching. You know, basically teaching courses, and he was teaching
he's at
courses
MIT,
on
yeah.
blockchain technologies and all this other stuff, but he don't own any crypto. You know. Okay, well that's cool. You don't own any crypto, but you can teach us about it. You know, type of thing. Okay, well that's fascinating.
Yeah, and he believes in the technology because he taught it at MIT. And like
Yeah.
you can, I've seen the videos before he was even like in the position he is now. I was watching like videos, little things would pop up with him teaching, talking about XRP even and stuff. And you know, and then once he comes into like office, it's like, oh, that's out the window. Like changes.
It's like teaching somebody how to drive a car without actually,
Yeah.
you know, having a driver's
Well,
license.
you know, it's whoever's is the highest bidder to make you
Yeah.
make these decisions. You know, like has influence over you, type of thing. You know, that's kind of what goes on.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of puppets out there.
Yeah, and he was working
like
for
somebody
you know,
else pulling the string.
Yeah, Jamie Dimon and all them. You know, he's in with them guys and stuff. It's crazy, but yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff that you know, and then this is funny too. Not to get on the subject too much, but interesting is like the government. A lot of times they will, you know, say that, oh, we're gonna ban this or stop this to protect you because we're worried about you.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're looking out for you, but there's ulterior motives. You know?
Yeah.
Always.
Well,
You know?
well, like in that court case, where was y'all during the FTT or the FTX
Yeah,
collapse
yeah,
and
yeah.
Sam Bankman-Fried, you know, scandal and all that good stuff? Like, where was y'all at that point in time? Because, you know, every time a project comes out, they got to do the IPO and they got to file it
Well,
with
he
the
was meeting
SEC.
with them too, like,
Exactly.
But they wasn't doing
Making
it,
phone
like,
calls and stuff.
Man.
And so how do you allow it to get to this point and then the people get screwed anyway?
Vicious circle.
So if it's got to come through your office at the beginning and you
Yeah.
didn't catch it, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of like connections there, like some stuff going on that if it ever came out, he'd probably be in prison or something. I mean, I saw where he like basically had like some kind of hidden accounts and stuff, even that they found out, like
Oh,
money
yeah,
and stuff, you
I
know.
was surprised.
I mean, it's like, you know, shady stuff, you know. It's just nuts, you know.
Yeah.
It's bad, but we don't. I probably don't want to get into them too much. They might
Yeah.
come after us.
Oh yeah,
No,
we'll get
I mean-
censored or whatever. We
Yeah.
just getting started, but we gonna shut them down. I don't know.
Hey, have you ever gone to Twitter and looked at the stuff on there? Like people, I mean, calling him out, and they'll put his name on there so he make sure he sees it and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff's crazy, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
you remember when XRP?
They got some big cojones.
You remember XRP was pumping like a few weeks ago or whatever, and that one guy said, "Go to hell."
Yeah.
Here's your XRP, you know, I mean, man.
Yeah,
That's
they
crazy.
gave him a big old middle finger. Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, man, very interesting, and like, you know, he didn't really even answer any of the questions, really.
No, he couldn't answer
He's like
none.
a regular politician, you know what I'm saying?
He looked like a scared little puppy dog up
Elizabeth
there.
Warren, remember a few like a month ago, or maybe I don't know exactly the time frame, but she got busted because she had wrote a whole thing in advance when they were going to the house and stuff, and they were doing like talking about crypto and stuff, and she wrote a whole thing to him. That found out question for question for him to ask, and heard it like she wrote a whole script basically for
Oh.
for while they were in there, and at the bottom of it of the thing it said, if you don't like these questions and you think that they're too strong, then I'm open to any suggestions that you want to throw in there.
Right.
Like the whole thing was staged.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, golly, that's what shipping is, you know, in this space, and oh man.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty, that's for sure. But yeah, you do your own research, but you know,
Gotta be
yeah,
careful.
you can make a bunch of money off of crypto, and
Yeah.
you know,
Right. And
go
you
ahead
know,
and build that financial freedom and get out of that 9 to
a lot of
5.
these dips that we have, it's most of them are manipulated, so that
Oh, yeah.
these institutions, they
Well, you got to
can buy
have
cheaper
the whales
prices.
and the ones that accumulate a
Yeah,
bunch.
yeah, and like when you're selling, like if you sold today when it dipped or yesterday or whatever, more than likely some whale's buying it up.
Yeah.
They're getting your crypto at like a cheaper price.
Yeah.
Like they're making this stuff happen.
Oh, yeah.
Behind the scenes, and they want your crypto as cheap as they can get it because they're going to sell it later when it
Oh,
goes
yeah.
up, and people don't need to understand that too, type of thing. So that's where you just got to have a good head on your shoulders, and you got to know the long term, where it's going,
Yeah.
and the potential.
Yeah, don't get
like,
rid of your crypto too early.
oh,
That's
man.
for sure.
Yeah,
Because somebody with a lot more money than you is going to come around and buy it up from everybody
yeah,
if they can. Like you just said. The whales are coming around all day, every day.
yeah.
They buy them up as cheap as they can get them, and they just going to hold because they got the money. You know what I mean? So, you got to know what you hold. Again, we say that
Definitely,
1,000
100%.
times.
Oh,
You got to
man.
know what you hold. And just accumulate, be patient,
Yep.
wait it out.
And getting back to our proof of work and their like level ones. Okay, let's say layer one. Layer ones have always done good. Like, as far as an investment, they've always turned out really good. But like just about all of them. Like,
Yeah.
Ethereum. Avalanche, Solana.
Yeah.
Phantom did really good.
Right.
I mean, they're typically a very good investment to get into. Of course, getting in the best time when it's low, you're gonna make more money than
Yeah.
getting in if it's high.
Yeah,
type
now,
of thing.
I bet thing, like those 22,000 cryptos, another thing to pay attention to. It's real sketchy to get below like the top 100, but especially if you find something that's
Yeah,
below like,
yeah.
the top 500. You getting somewhere, deep down in the list. Yeah, I don't know. You might,
Yeah,
that's
you might
one of
be
them
careful
ones where
with
you
that
got
stuff.
to,
Watch out
like,
for them rug pulls.
right, like you want to know like what's going on with this project, like, how new are they? What are they trying to do?
Yeah.
Like just because they're cheap, just because they're 0.0000001,
Gotta look at the market cap.
Don't
you gotta look at
mean-
the inflationary part of it.
don't mean that you're gonna make a bunch.
Man.
Just means that it's a brand new project, and you got to be careful when you're spending your money
Yeah.
on a new project like that. That would be something like if you had $1,000, you put 25% Bitcoin or
Yeah,
25%
yeah.
Ethereum and then Cardano and stuff like that, and you
Yeah.
have maybe 5% in that coin right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for real.
type of
That's
thing.
so much better. And if you lose it, oh well, because the other coins are gonna do good, But
Right.
But it may,
It may take off,
200x or something, and you did good off of 50 if you just put $50
Yeah,
in there.
right. Yeah, and that's where you gotta kind of have a limit. Like if you like a weekly amount, like I do weekly investing. Some people do
Yeah,
daily
yeah.
daily investing. Some people do weekly, monthly, whatever the case may be. You got to have that set amount that you're gonna
Some
spend.
people just go all in and buy one time and they're
Yeah.
done because they don't got no money left. Like,
Yeah, right. Yeah, and they only choose one coin.
Right,
They put it all in
right.
one basket.
Which is
and that's,
like, not very good, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's okay, but it's not the best way to do it.
yeah, depending on which one you go after,
Yeah.
type of thing. You kind of got to have a guide and a basis point of what you feel like that project is going to do. Like me, like I told old buddy today at work, is I don't really invest in Bitcoin as well as I should have or should because of the simple fact it's so high already.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, I've
Bitcoin,
already,
mhm.
I feel like I missed out. That Bitcoin to me is more of like a day trading, swing trading type of thing. Like you make money quick on quick trades,
Yeah.
type of
Like
thing.
leverage
Whereas
trading and
everybody else, or every other coin, I'm shooting for the accumulation and
Yeah.
the holding and stuff
I'm
like
the same
that.
way, man. I quit buying Bitcoin a while back, but now, for somebody that is like scared, nervous in this space, and that would be one they would want to buy because it's the safest one, to invest in. You're not going to have as high returns, but
Right.
Bitcoin's not going to go. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, you basically got store
So-
value.
And it's still like a really good return compared to other like
Yeah.
like stocks and different things like that.
We're still down. We're still down. What about? We're still down. Halfway of where the all-time high was, and especially
Yeah,
once
below
we
that
have
point
that
now.
next halving, which is what 2024.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, well. It's still a ways off. But,
I think it's 2024 is when the next
2024.
halving is, and that's when we're really gonna see the
Yeah,
price
right.
of the Bitcoin skyrocket. You know, maybe well over
Oh,
100,000
man.
for a Bitcoin.
Yeah, right. We need to do a show on like what we think like our
Predictions.
predictions are for certain coins and stuff.
Well, if we get some comments and stuff in here and get some people watching,
Yeah.
be pretty
Yeah.
interesting what the people want to see, and what they want us to cover and
Yeah.
type of thing. But yeah, I mean predictions, because we got so many different coins that we know about. We probably both hold maybe 40 assets, or
Oh, man.
30 to 40 assets
Right.
in our portfolio. You know what I mean? So,
You know what we need to do? We need to do a show like what you think what you believe is the best and least riskiest coin like that you believe in, and like what I believe mine is maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe mine could be the same.
compare each
and
other's
why
portfolio. Let me see your portfolio.
But you know what I mean. And,
I've only been trying for a couple years. Let me see.
like that might be a good one to do where people could be interested, why we believe like this coin is like the safest but also
Yeah.
the highest return
Oh,
compared
yeah.
to like this coin or this coin type
Yeah, and
thing.
actually showing. I want to get into more where we, show them stuff instead of they just, see our faces type of thing. But like
get there.
like I was telling old buddy at work was like I want to get into more of like what we have and the goals and stuff that we have, like we
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah,
earlier in the
yeah.
video, is like I was telling him, I the way that I look at things and the mindset that I have when it comes to purchasing and holding and having my exit strategy and interest strategy and accumulation goals, because it ain't just a goal about accumulating a certain amount of an asset. It's also the goal of what you predict or project your portfolio to hit.
What you kinda make off of it.
10x on your whole portfolio. I may be trying to hit a 10x on this coin. It like say Gala, for example. I was telling him, I'll try to accumulate 100,000 Gala. Once I get 100,000 Gala, if it goes to the all-time high of 87 cent, 88 cent, that's $88,000 or whatever.
Right, and-
If it does, let's say it hits $1, you got $100,000, and it only costs you say $3,000 to
Exactly.
purchase
I mean,
100,000
that's
gallons.
crazy, dude. And
You know what I
it's
mean?
just a couple
Like you
years.
got a 97,000 profit right there. Or you could say if you invested $3,000 going into 100, what we at 33.3 times, 33.3x off of your initial investment.
And in just a couple years too.
In just a couple
short
years,
period of time.
a few short years,
And, yeah,
and all you got to do is be
man.
patient, type of thing. So you got them type of goals as well, like how much of that asset do you want to hold, and what do you think that asset's going to do potentially in the bull run?
Yeah.
Like is it going to hit half of its all-time high? Is it going to hit the all-time high? Is it going to blow past that all-time high?
Right.
And then you want to see how much, as I mentioned before, how much you invested in your whole portfolio, and then do say a 10x off of that, 15x off of that,
That's a great
5x
strategy.
off of that.
That's a great way of doing it. I mean, that's great. I mean, you can't beat that.
So, even stuff like that to talk about, people get in and start communicating with us and stuff like
And
that.
everything follows Bitcoin. Like when it goes up,
Yeah.
everything pretty much starts going up. So
Right.
your portfolio, everything in your portfolio starts going up once Bitcoin starts going up, which is like massive. If you start looking at your
Exactly.
portfolio.
You don't even
Oh,
have to
man.
own. You don't even have to own Bitcoin because, like you just said, everything follows Bitcoin. And with Bitcoin, like maybe you feel like you're a little too late to the game, which that's how I feel. A little bit too late for the Bitcoin. Not saying that you can't have Bitcoin. I have a little bit of Bitcoin, but
I do the same thing. I mean, 'cause
but I'm not investing a whole bunch into Bitcoin no more, just
Yeah.
for the simple fact there's other projects that have a higher return rate
Yep.
potentially than Bitcoin does because Bitcoin's so high.
It's kind of like Bitcoin is the gateway in to
Yeah.
the space,
Right.
basically, because that's how I started. Like,
Yeah,
first thing
right.
I ever bought pretty much was Bitcoin.
Yeah, I wish I
It
would've got
introduces
in.
you to people that have an open mind. They oh wow, there's more to this than just Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah.
Start searching and like going down these rabbit holes.
My cousin actually, hopefully he ain't watching, but I hope he does watch the video, later
Yeah.
on. But he texted me yesterday, matter of fact, and asked me because I was telling him about all the crypto that I'll be buying and stuff like that.
Right.
So I want to get into crypto, and
Really.
what's the best cryptos to get in, or how to start? what do I need to do first? I just downloaded a wallet. I said,
go back
so
to
the first thing I texted him, I said, well, what wallet did you get? I got Robinhood.
Oh,
I was like, what the fuck?
Man.
You can't get Robinhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I
Robinhood
know.
is the worst one to get because they
But
don't
right.
even have a lot of crypto.
Well,
not to mention,
right.
you know, it's just not the best exchange to use.
Here's the thing about Robinhood too, and I heard they were going to change this, and I don't keep up with Robinhood that much, and I don't know if they did change this. Was that when you have crypto on there, it's stuck on there. You can't pull it off. Like you can't take and put it in another, like a cold wallet or send it to another exchange or anything. Now they were working on it. I know a year ago or so where you could do that, where you could pull it off. But I
Right.
know for 100% one time you could not pull your crypto. All you could do is sell it and turn it into cash. And then, I mean that's crazy.
So when I use,
that defeats the whole purpose
Yeah.
of crypto. Like that
Right.
goes against everything in crypto.
not to mention, like I said, Robinhood's so far behind when it comes to all these exchanges.
Yeah.
To being able to accumulate crypto and all the different ones, because again, there's 22,000 different cryptos,
Yeah, right.
and you only offering. I remember when I first used Robinhood, and I actually was into the stock market side of things before I got into crypto. I was investing in stocks, and when I looked at crypto, there was only Litecoin, Ripple, Bitcoin,
Ethereum, probably.
and Ethereum.
Yeah, your top.
There was only like 4 coins on there,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, why the hell I want to get into crypto? There's only 4 coins. You know, this was back then when I didn't know nothing about
Right,
crypto. You know what I'm saying?
exactly,
So there's
man.
only 4 coins.
Like what the heck?
And then you know you go to crypto.com or Nexo or
man.
Binance or Coinbase. You know, all these different ones.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, damn, I didn't know about this.
Oh,
Or you just start researching
Then
crypto.
you go to CoinMarketCap, you're like,
Or
oh,
coin
crap.
market cap, and it's like,
22,000,
okay,
30,000.
yeah, right,
45.50.
yeah, 45.50, right, and it's like, so he hit me up with that, and I was like, no, I was like, don't do that. So you know, I told him Binance or Coinbase, you know,
Yeah.
I was like, that'd be your best bet because you can link your card,
Right.
you can deposit money in right there instantly and be able to
Go
trade.
to the people that actually are in this space that's what they do. Like is purely crypto, not somebody. That's
Now you
like,
got to be careful of scams and stuff like that.
Right,
you know, people
right.
that's gonna try to help you, but don't actually help you. All they're trying to do is help take money out your pocket and give it to you, type of thing. But that's again not what we're trying to do.
Right.
But you always got to be careful.
I mean,
or
it's
whatever.
cool though. Like they got introduced through what's it called again? The
Robinhood.
Robinhood. And it's usually because like they're dabbling in the stocks and stuff.
Yeah.
And they happen to see it on there. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, what oh, there it is. What they're talking about. You know.
But that ain't
That's how
one
they
that you need to get
introduced
in.
to it.
Yeah.
Right. They get introduced to it that way, but then if they take the go down that rabbit hole, then they understand. Oh, wait a minute, I need to use this exchange instead of this one.
They need to actually and pay attention and talk to people that's actually interested in the same thing that you're interested in. And 9 times out of 10, like even if you're watching videos, you need to really listen to what they say, right? Because even if you watch a video, like people put out bogus information, right, and biased information and stuff like that. Talk to people at work, talk to people, maybe your friends or whatever, see what they know, because they may know something that we don't know.
Right, it's like a community,
whatever,
working together to
exactly.
I learned something from you learn something from me, type of thing, and that's where you grow and become stronger, and it benefits everybody, type of thing, and it's just like the
more people are aware of crypto, the easier it'll be also for it to get adopted and get worldwide type of thing, because so many people just don't know about crypto, and this is just my opinion and belief, is that it's so new, even though it's been out for a while. 2009 was when Bitcoin came out, but because it's so new and people don't know about it, because whether they didn't research it, never came across it, never wanted to come across
or hear bad things
or
about it.
Or they always heard negativity when it came to crypto, that they just stayed away from it. So people don't know about it, and that's where you got to find people that brings the positivity back to the crypto space and teaches you the positive things about crypto and what it's trying to do.
They don't understand the new technology and what it its utility and what it brings and how it's going to change everything, and it's already changing.
Yeah, right.
It
has real world utility and value. And not to mention, you got the supply and demand.
Value, the supply. It's just
supply and
crazy.
demand is going. the world strives off of supply and demand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the whole thing with like Bitcoin example of being deflationary, whereas like the dollar
And a lot
is
of coins
inflationary.
is, right.
What was it you showed me earlier? The 97%.
97.8% of the U.S. dollar is down from 1913 to now.
Since the Fed?
We're at a 97. Yeah, since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913.
Golly.
The U.S. dollar has depreciated 97.8%
That is insane.
since
Dude.
1913. Yep.
And that's how fiat money is. It's the same way with fiat ever since.
People don't realize that. People don't realize that
Same thing.
because they look at a dollar bill and think it's still a dollar, but
Yeah.
they don't realize that this may cost twice as much as it
Yeah.
did way back when.
Well, they're like, man, back in 1920, you could build a whole house for $1,500,
Right.
And that's why, because it lost its buying power because they keep making more of it.
Yeah, because they can print as much as they want to. Because there's nothing backing them, and there's nothing that says that there's a certain amount of U.S. dollars that can be in circulation.
Too much
Whereas
control.
crypto, you have a total supply. You have a circulating, like what's going to be circulated supply and
Yeah.
a total
It's
supply.
all encoded, too.
Max supply.
Like
and you can't exceed that. You cannot print more Bitcoins. It's just
Yeah,
not going to happen.
Right. Isn't that awesome? I mean,
Versus
it's crazy.
versus everybody thinks like the U.S. dollar is so strong. Really, it ain't. If you go back, like I just mentioned, 1913 since the Federal Reserve
just going
happened,
down,
it's just been going down
Ever
and
since.
has been depreciating.
Yeah.
And crypto's not going to depreciate. It's only going depending on which asset, But like you just mentioned, Bitcoin, for example, being a deflationary and has the halving and stuff like that, and there's only going to ever be 21 million Bitcoin, and not to mention you got the whole world that it's going to supply. What does that tell you right
Man,
there?
and how many billions of people? There's not enough. There won't be enough Bitcoin.
What
for
is the
one
price
person.
of Bitcoin
There
going to
won't-
be
Hey,
when it gets to that point?
If you got like 8 billion people or whatever, and you got only 21 million Bitcoin, there's not enough for one
There ain't
person
even
on the
enough-
whole planet.
right.
Can't even have one to themselves.
Exactly.
At the end of the day. And we're not even at 21 million yet. That won't happen for a while. But still, that'll be the max when it.
It'll be in our
tops out.
lifetime.
Man.
At least mine, probably. I don't know about you.
I'm gonna live forever, man. What you talking about?
Yeah, we gonna find some AI technology.
What was it? I was talking to a guy
I don't know
one
about-
time, and we figured
Oh.
out all kinds of stuff, researching stuff, and he's like, "Man, we."
Whoa,
we
now
can-
Kenny might be watching this video. Now you don't be
No,
doing me
I'm talking about him
that.
now. No. Is that you
No, we
number-
wasn't looking
that's
at.
number 3.
Oh yeah.
But he was like, "Man, we just figured out this and this just by research." He said, "We probably live forever if we research how to not die."
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm telling you. Hey, put me in AI. Give me my brain and that's it. Yeah, I'll be good to go.
I mean, man, it's so amazing. Like, if you can just take the time. I know people have busy lives and schedules, but to like learn about something,
Oh yeah,
and put
man.
the time in. Even if you just like
I'll tell
10
you,
minutes
it's
a-
an eye opener.
10 minutes a day, 15 minutes adds up.
You got to.
Type
I
of thing.
mean,
if you don't have the time to do it, you can in your car driving, you can watch.
I say it all the
things.
time. I say it all the time. You got to invest in yourself. Put that time in for yourself because nobody else is gonna do it for you. That company that you work for,
They
that
don't care about you.
that business that you're running, Now, obviously, if you're running a business, you're already off to a good start.
Yeah,
but
right.
most of the time, let's say, for example, you working a 9 to 5 job, whatever time, 4 to 5 in the morning like us,
Yeah.
But
Oh man.
needless to say, if you're working at a job, that company right there, they don't care about you. They will replace you in a heartbeat.
No,
you're just a number. You're just an employee. You're just, whatever. Once if you quit, you get laid off, or you get fired, or whatever, they're just gonna replace you the
They
next
don't
day,
even
the
tell
next
you,
week.
Tell you when you're gonna get cut,
Right.
But then
It's
once you
just-
turn in a 2-week notice,
Yeah, right.
and-
Ain't nothing there gonna benefit you. So you got to take the effort,
just
and you
using
got to take the initiative to invest in yourself and to, try to better yourself
Yeah.
at every chance that you get. Really, every opportunity, lunch break, the ride to and from work. You got to invest in yourself. You got to start taking the time to learn, get
and
educated,
then apply it.
and then do something about it. Right, like you just said,
Because you
apply.
can
it.
learn everything. If you don't do anything about it, it ain't gonna do much good. I mean.
Yeah, you can watch as many videos and do whatever the case may be, but if you don't take action, you're not gonna get anywhere.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, 100%. I mean, if I hadn't spent all those time, like hours, and I mean, looking up, researching, and learning and learning and learning, but I was just like, once I started learning, like I couldn't.
And it gets easier and easier
Yeah,
too.
and I couldn't get enough of it. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like a sponge in my brain. It was just like, oh, what is this? What is it? You know,
SpongeBob?
I mean, yeah, SpongeBob. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
seriously, like it was just like fascinating, like this technology, and like, you mean I can have a machine that just prints money, basically?
Especially if you're and crypto is for everybody too. Like it ain't just for the young generation.
Yeah,
It ain't just for the middle-aged generation or the 45 to 50 generation. You know, but it's for everybody. You know, because like you got the gamers out there, right? Gaming appeals to just about everybody, right? I mean, I've seen the older generation, you know, 45, 50. I've seen, you know, 18-year-olds, the 5-year-olds, 10-year-olds, whatever the case may be. Always, you know, they're gaming. You know, I've even seen grandmas on TikTok gaming, you know what I mean? Playing Call of Duty type thing. And let me get one of them. And yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like gaming, that could be for everybody. You can find crypto gaming that you feel like has the potential, something that you're interested in. And it's no different. I like to look at it like me going to work every day. Me going to work every day, I'm investing my time, putting it in for the company.
I mean, you're not going to get rich off of that.
You're not going to get rich off of it, right? But
it's just enough to pay your bills and type of thing, and you know. But you know, like you said, once you invest in yourself and then you branch out for you. Right.
But the point of it is like, so I work for this company, and I'm investing my time. Well, okay, so I don't work for, say, Sandbox or Gala or Decentraland or whatever. So I invest my money in them because I believe in what they're doing. If you didn't believe in your job, you wouldn't work for them, right? Because, you know, like, who's going to want to work at a job that's only going to last, you know, 1 week or 2 weeks?
Are they going to give me a paycheck?
Yeah, or are they going to give me a paycheck? You know, is this check going to bounce? Is this check going to fucking cash out? You know, type of thing. So, with that being said, you know, if you choose a job, you know, you're investing your research and looking at that company that, okay, this is a good company to work for. You know, they're a big company, they're well known, you know, type of thing. Like, just like, and you could look at it like McDonald's. McDonald's is one of these big franchises, global, worldwide, you know. So crypto is the same thing. And you want to look at, say, Sandbox, Gala, Decentraland, whatever the gaming space is, and that's where you want to invest your money. And so once you invest your money onto that gaming space, and then you're looking at like, okay, so I'm going to invest my money on this gaming space. I feel like it's got the potential. Not to mention, if you played games for so long, and you're going to get paid for it now, versus
you want to get paid to play games.
Versus back in the day, where I know when I was growing up and I played games, all I did was just spend my time. I invested my time playing the game, but I never got rewarded for it. Right. You know, so you go to work every day, you invest your time, and you get rewarded for it, right? Because you're going to work.
Yeah.
So it's no different. Now you get to play a game and get rewarded for it.
Yeah.
Why not invest into that project?
Like real rewards, like, you know, not stuff that's just stuck in the game. Like you NFTs you can sell and different things.
Yeah, multiple different earning aspects.
Jobs in different countries like the Philippines and stuff because they make more money doing.
You can earn the token, the coin. So if you play in a game, you can earn the coin, right? Yeah, so if you're getting Gala tokens, or you can get the NFTs, sell it on the marketplace, you know. So you got multiple avenues to earn off of that one investment as well. Not to mention if you actually physically invest in the project, right? Like put money into it, and not just your time.
And you know, this being like a new technology, well, it's been out for a few years, but it's growing and expanding. Like, you know, into film, music.
Yeah, right.
You know, supply chains like VeChain. You know, it's all about the supply chains and stuff, where it tracks everything and stuff like that. It's prime opportunity to be able to get into this space now. A lot of people were like, "Oh, I missed the internet. I wish I got in when the internet came in." Invested in that, you know, kind of thing. Well, here's you another opportunity, probably a bigger opportunity.
Yeah, because there's so many different areas.
This is changing the whole world.
And see, like what you just said, people that missed out on the internet. That was one space. Right?
Yeah, one space.
Crypto has many spaces.
It's taking over everything.
That's brand new. You got privacy, security. Gaming, NFTs,
DeFi.
DeFi, yep.
You got, I mean,
just so many different spaces.
and there'll be more as it goes on. Like it just started out Bitcoin only.
Yeah.
You couldn't do smart contracts or anything.
And
it's
Bitcoin,
just,
being a peer-to-peer and, basically trying to be almost like a, what the word is, legal tender, right?
Yeah,
Like Bitcoin created to try to take over the world currency or whatever. Now you got all these different things where they're building websites, they're building games, they're doing this, they're doing data and storage and gaming and everything. I mean, they're just taking over everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. So like we were just talking about, like layer 3s, they're not even really out yet. So there's another expansion. There's no telling what's going to happen with those, right? And then there might be layer 4s after that later on down the road. I mean, you don't know. Like, and what they could encompass and Intel, and they might, they're going to be doing stuff that, not happening right now.
It's going to be like the iPhone 7, then 8, now we're on 12,
right.
13. Yeah,
I mean, for real. I mean, just like, you got electric cars out now. I mean, it's just like, it's always that technology coming out. And if you can get in and it takes off, oh, man, like, things are changing constantly. So, but yeah, I mean, it's amazing stuff, it really is. So don't, Rosie Rhea said the trains done left the station, you know what I'm saying? So if, you wanted to get into something and you missed out before, then you're like, this is something you need to look into.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Don't take our word for it. Like, go in and, do your own research and due diligence and find out about this stuff. And then I'm telling you, open your eyes.
I think this was a pretty good show right here.
Yeah, definitely.
And we ain't even got into the news or the coin of the day. We done got way off track. But
yeah,
hour 15, hour 16.
There wasn't a whole lot in the news today, other than like the Gary Gensler stuff a little bit.
Yeah,
Yesterday,
they manhandled Gary Gensler the other day all through court.
Man,
they was on him like white on rice. Basically just asking them questions, about securities and asking them about, what has he actually done. I think I heard something about like 67 or 50 something cases that he's filed, and nothing has came out of it.
Yeah, the he's just driving away. Innovation in the United States as far as like the crypto goes.
Oh, we appreciate you coming back to the show. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, too.
Hit that like, subscribe if you want to find out more information.
Hell yeah.
And, continue this channel to grow.
Hell yeah.
And we're gonna be
share it to your friends, family.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be constantly adapting to what our users, viewers want to see and stuff. But yeah, I mean, he basically, has been driving them out, and nobody wants to, start a company here in the United States because they have to deal with all that crap. Because he won't tell them what they're doing wrong or any of that stuff.
Yeah,
he just comes after.
He barely even answers questions. He just looks like
But then it's funny. He says
like a deer in headlights. Like, what?
Our door is open, to you guys all the time. You just, our policies and stuff. But he's
got to follow the rules, but we don't know what the rules.
They don't know what the rules are themselves, kind of thing.
Y'all make sure you follow the law. What's this law, Gary? Oh no, yeah, we try to figure it out. All right, well, that's cool.
That being said, with the XRP lawsuit and stuff,
that's gonna be a game changer once it's over with.
Oh man, I mean, it's kind of like there's so much stuff going under the scenes that we don't know. Like they're trying, like it's covering up different things, where they're trying to put XRP out like shut them down type of thing with this lawsuit and stuff. And a lot of stuff people believe is like with Ethereum, trying to push it where a lot of these big banks, when Ethereum came out, they put a lot of money in it and stuff. And then when XRP came out, it's like a competition, right? So they're trying to like a lot of it shut it down so Ethereum can thrive, kind of thing. Because they know that XRP is faster, it's quicker, cheaper,
And they're already massive. Like,
massive.
They're already working with like 300 and something banks. You know what I mean? Across the world.
So there's a lot of speculation, and that's what's going on with that. And then I mean, when the lawsuit went in place, the not Gary Gensler, but the chair in his before he got in, he did the lawsuit and he stepped out. Like he resigned the next day after the lawsuit, and that's when Gary came in later on and stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, I remember at the time, a lot of people were like, well, Gary Gensler, because what we were talking about before, he was teaching about crypto at MIT, right?
Yeah.
And he understood it, and he respected it, and he believed in it. So a lot of people were like, oh, this is great because he's getting in office. This is going to be great for crypto.
Yeah.
And they were positive about it. And then when all this stuff is going on, they were like,
flip the script.
Like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
Flip the script. Like he did a 180, I mean, just crazy stuff.
Going after everybody.
I mean,
he couldn't even answer the question about Bitcoin and Ethereum being securities or not. You did say Bitcoin was not a security, right? Well, what about Ethereum?
If he's the head of the SEC and he don't know, then how the hell are the exchanges like Coinbase and stuff supposed to know?
Right.
I mean, like, they can't even go and ask him, like, okay, so, is this a security? If he don't know, how the hell is he supposed to know?
I don't know, but I'm going to sue you a month from now. I don't know.
And that's how XRP is going to win the lawsuit.
Yeah.
I mean, but use that, what you were talking about, like he was on the stand or whatever, in the court case, kind of thing. I don't know why it keeps doing that. I'm going to change this, I guess, but hope we're not losing another viewer here, but, great.
Yeah, it'll be like
for
that
watching
somehow.
the channel and supporting it.
We're going to
Appreciate
call
it very, very,
Comcast
very much.
today.
We are going to put our foot down.
I'll tell you, I'm tired of this.
I want my money back.
Yeah, right.
But anyways, so yeah, not a whole lot, in the news right now. We are in a bear market and stuff.
Yeah. But that was pretty interesting, though. Gary Gensler being on trial, asking questions, stuff like that. So that's pretty fascinating right there.
It's been a good feeling to see that because, basically, everybody's been putting up, like the exchanges and crypto have been putting up a lot of crap from him, and from the SEC.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got so many exchanges that he's went after and so many different projects that he's went after.
But he never went after, like, FTX,
Yeah, but he was calling Sam Bankman-Friedman
and like friends and all this stuff. That's not.
That don't sound good. That don't. I don't know what you got going on.
Coinbase comes out and says, "Yeah, we're going to start our own coin where we're going to have you can make interest off of it and stuff." And then he's like, "Well, if you do that, you're going to be sued." Like, well, why is that? Well, I can't talk about that.
Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about all that, but just fuck around and find out. That's what. Yeah.
Good luck with that. And Coinbase spent a lot of money investing in that, like the technology and like teams and it's like all that stuff, and they had to shut it down. So they lost a lot of money if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because they had no return on it.
Oh right,
on that investment that they were no ROI on it at all. So I mean it's just crazy, but is what it is. To me, it's a big deal, and it feels great seeing him in that position where he's just like, deer in headlights, after all the crap he's done. And I've been following this for a long time. I tell you, this is the most interesting and fascinating space that you can follow because
there's always
it's like
something.
a soap opera.
Yeah, there's always something going on.
You ain't lying, man. I mean, it's entertainment. I mean, you can watch it, eat popcorn and stuff because it changes so quickly too,
right.
and you never know what's going to happen. It's just fascinating. And it's really cool because we're seeing the world change right before our eyes. It's slowly, but we're seeing all these little things happen, and it's the way of this technology and this new asset class thing. It's actually changing. We're at the front seat seeing all this stuff. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of people don't see that. They're just kind of like in the back seat, just doing their own thing, and that's cool. Whatever, everybody do their own thing. But if you want to get ahead and you want to try to like make your life better financially, this is an instrument that you can do it.
Oh yeah, right.
And you don't want to be left behind, basically.
Right.
So,
and we ain't gonna give y'all all of our information, but
we have this opportunity.
Not on this video. Maybe next video or the video after. We got to save a little bit of content for you guys. Hopefully, y'all start leaving comments, asking questions, subscribing to the channel. Again, all that's much appreciated because, it only helps us get better and bring out different content.
Well, it's encouraging, too. You see people comment and stuff and gives you, trying to make a difference. And people
exactly.
And try to help people out, and
that's the ultimate goal right there is, helping as many people as we can.
Yeah.
And
just like that guy today.
we
had a debate with him, and he's all upset and everything. Next thing you know, he's buying crypto.
Yeah,
because-
and the crazy thing is like the reason we started this channel was because talking to people at work and so many people that's clueless
yeah,
when it comes to crypto, or they would ask us how to do this, or
all the time. And
what is our opinion on this, what is our
Yeah,
opinion on
yeah,
that, and then
it's nice
it's
to
like,
people-
well, we could start a live show,
yeah,
to help
Absolutely.
people. So again, leave a comment. Don't be shy. Let us know what your opinion is.
We're gonna keep
We'll
bringing
do-
great
we'll-
content regardless. But,
Yeah,
you know,
we'll do debates. We'll answer questions as far as like what we feel like, what our opinion is, whatever. It don't matter what the content is. If we get people engaging with us, it goes where it goes. Really, I mean, because
Yeah.
you never know where the show's gonna go when you got people engaging and commenting
Oh,
and
man,
asking
yeah.
questions and stuff like that.
Absolutely, I look forward to that. Like 100%. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, because I mean, they might bring up stuff we never really thought about, or
Yeah.
we have thought about a lot, or something. And it could just change the whole perspective of the whole show right there.
Yeah, right.
It'd be awesome. Look forward to that.
And so with that being said, I think we're pretty far along into the show. We may, I don't know, it's up to you if you want to get into coin of the day.
How
know
long
that's-
have we been on?
Hour and a half.
Well, I mean, it don't matter. We could.
Man, we did a pretty good show
I think
today.
we could probably
we
save
could
it for
probably-
another episode.
not to give them too much information. Scroll down some more. Let me. Yeah. So pretty much, we appreciate you watching again, and make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Like I said, it's just gonna help us out. And our next show is we're gonna come up with like what we're gonna give you opinions on our type of coins, and
Yeah.
we have a pretty good show lined out for you. So it'll be a surprise. Come next Monday. That'll be in a few more days. Whatever day that is, Thursday 21. So in a few more days, like the 24th, 25th, whatever, we'll be putting out another show 6:15. Y'all stay tuned.
Heck
Hit the
yeah.
notification buttons down, but that way you know when we're going live. We'll be posting on Facebook as well, and yeah, pretty
Awesome.
much that's about it.
Heck yeah. Thanks for watching, and